This is the new FT3D from Yaesu. I've had it for about a week now, and as I suspected, I pretty much already know it. So this time, we're going to do a review on K6UDA radio. As I pretty much suspected, the functions of the FT3D are pretty much like the FT2. So after just a week of playing with this radio, I am pretty damn comfortable giving you guys a full review of the radio. But before we begin, I want to ask you guys to please hit that subscribe, the little bell notification right next to it, because subscriptions mean nothing in YouTube. Share this video, and please give it a thumbs up if it's helpful to you. Also, I want to ask you guys to please consider checking out my Patreon page and or throwing me a buck or two in the tip jar, so to speak, on PayPal. All that set aside, let's get to it. Now, everybody wants to know about the battery on this thing, so we're going to do a little battery test. It's 5 a.m. We're going to start this test now. Like we went over in the last video, the FT3 is slightly shorter and slightly wider than its predecessor, the FT2. The good news is your FT2 batteries and the CD41 drop-in charger will work with the FT3. Now the FT3 has this extended GPS antenna on the top, which means that you're going to have to carefully pick antenna options that you use for the radio. I've replaced mine with a Nagoya 77. The PTT buttons work really good. It has a monitor with a call button, a squelch button, and the power button on the bottom with a lock. On the other side of the radio, you have an SD card slot, a USB, that's a mini USB, and the mic jack with a power outlet there, the DC in. About 3 hours into our battery test, beaconing APRS and a couple of QSOs on my local digital repeater just came off the full mark. Turning the radio on, you'll notice the first thing is, yes, it has a nice color screen. Now Yaesu has gone with a black background with white numbers, which makes it very, very visible. Changing frequencies is done with the top rotating knob. No surprise there. Now, just like the FT2, the memories on this are one whole bank of memories, and you can use any of the memories on either one of the bank A or bank B. A short press of the AB switch on there will switch between the active band when you're in the dual band mode, and a long press will take you into a single VFO mode. When you're in this single VFO mode, a short press of the AB switch will switch between the two bands. In either mode, pressing the VM or the VFO and memory button will switch you between memories and the active VFO. All right, we just finished the YouTuber's net, and we still got half a tank. Radio's been on now since 5 in the morning. It's now almost 11. Touching the frequency on the display brings up a keypad, and you can key in any frequency you want. Touching the soft mode key in any VFO or either VFO will toggle between FM, digital narrow, and AMS. The FMW key is kind of the heart of the radio when you're operating. First thing we'll look at is transmit power, and you could switch between low 1, 2, and 3, and high. Most of the functions on the FT3 are the same as the FT2. I don't feel that I need to go through each and every one of them, but we will pick up here at the dual receiver. That brings you into an FM mode, and you can listen to your favorite FM station along with monitoring the other two bands. The P receiver button enables you to listen to all kinds of cool things, including weather, marine traffic, public service, and shortwave. Okay. Just had a nice long QSO with Dr. Ballin on his new FT2, and I'm on high power on VHF there. And I'm going to show you guys what the screen looks like outside in the bright sunshine. And it's very hard for you guys to see it, but you can see it.
K6UDA W6X, how's that? Any better?
Yeah, go ahead, Dennis. Sounds pretty good. Actually does sound pretty good. That's what the screen looks like without the backlight on. Pretty dim, kind of hard to see, but you can see it. As soon as you touch it, it turns back on. Now with an SD card firmly mounted in the radio, the record feature will enable you to record both outgoing and incoming transmissions. You can play them back on the radio, or you could take the SD card out and load it into a computer.
The other radio.
Very, very handy for MCOM situations or net control stuff at different events, or just, you know what, having a good time. Playing back recorded messages on the radio is very simple in the log function. You'll simply pick the voice option, pick the file you want to listen to, and hit the playback. Okay, it is 14:33 hours. It has been going for, 9 hours now. I am now into scanner mode. So putting its paces through the scanner down to one little bar. So here's something new. This is the cam button for the Club Active monitor. Focus. Alright, first of all, we're going to go in, hit that. We're going to set up a group, and we're going to add a few frequencies in here. Adding frequencies to your Club Active monitor is fairly straightforward. You just scroll through and keep hitting add for as many frequencies as you want in that monitor. Once you've got your monitor set up, the main frequency that you're monitoring, below that you're going to see the rest of the frequencies that you're monitoring. And when you get a signal coming across that, it'll show up on the screen. Just tap it and it'll switch automatically to that frequency, and then you can switch between the 3 frequencies or however many frequencies you put into it. Keying in a repeater frequency and setting it up is very easy. Simply tap the frequency that you want to plug in. You could just key it in, and then using the FMW key, you could go to signaling, set up the type of squelch tone you want, and enter the DCS code right there next to it. Also has a handy little white light. Alright guys, 12 hours. It is still going. Yeah, that battery is cooked. It is down to 1, but it is still going. Now back running APRS. It's beaconing and it's still going. The band scope on the FT3, I think, is fairly improved from the one on the FT2. I think it's a little bit more responsive. It's easier to see, and you'll definitely be a fan of that when you're scanning frequencies in the VFO. A short press of the display button is going to bring up your compass rose. This is going to give you information on other stations that you're talking to, as well as your position. Touching the screen brings up the GPS information for your current location and the number of GPS signals that the radio is receiving. A long press of the same display button brings you into the main configuration menu. This is where you're going to do all your APRS, wires X, display stuff, and the main radio configuration adjustments.
My time, so it's been about 11 hours then, right?
No, it's been 13 hours.
13 hours. Nice.
13 hours, guys. This radio has been running for 13 hours. Look at this. It has no bars left. No bars, but it is still going. I gotta say, Yaesu, you did some battery life on this one. And yeah, look at all these. Look at this motley crew. Say hi, guys.
Hey. Hi, guys. Raise a glass.
Everybody take a turn and say hi. So your picture rotates.
Do you have my beer mug there with you?
Yeah.
I do. Hey, look at that. Woo! All right. Look at what you get if you go to Dayton Hamvention right there.
That's it. It survived the plane flight.
It survived the plane flight. That's pretty cool.
No,
yeah.
it's of a high quality.
Right.
Now the next thing that everybody's been talking about is the Bluetooth functionality, and will it work with other devices other than Yaesu's headset? Yes, it will. I was able to hook this up to my Senna 20S, which is my motorcycle helmet, and works fine on that. I was also able to hook it up to my Trex Titanium Bluetooth headset, and I can actually use the call button on the Trex Titanium. A short press of that activates the PTT, and another press deactivates the PTT. Very easy to use. When you're hooked up to a Wires X node or a hotspot that supports it, like the OpenSpot 2, the Wires X button, it works just like you would expect it to. It kind of pops up a grayish looking submenu. I wish they would have done something a little more colorful with that. Kind of boring, in my opinion. The group monitor button performs just like it did on the FT2 and the FTM 400. Very, very handy for kind of logging other stations that are that you're talking to, either on a net, on Wires X, or even Simplex. Very, very handy for keeping track of who's kind of with you on the air. And that brings me to a word about APRS. The APRS functionality on the FT3 is almost identical to what it was on the FT2. But with the color touchscreen and everything, it really makes it a pleasure to set up by hand, just on the fly. The APRS menus and GPS menuing on the FT3 is very robust. I can go ahead and configure any part of APRS that I want to, and there's a whole bunch that you can do within APRS. Once you've got APRS on and active, you could go through station list. You could pick out different stations that are transmitting either weather or their position, whatever. You can reply to those stations and actually set up a QSO on an adjacent frequency. APRS can be used to message or send emails to other people. You can track all your movements or track somebody else's movements that's on APRS. Really good when you're off-road or when you're hiking in the mountains, because other people, your friends and family, can follow you on the APRS.fi website and see your travels. You can even email them or spot yourself on Soda Watch just from APRS. Okay, guys,
so
14 hours
really cool about it. So,
of running.
But anyway,
And now finally it is blinking battery. So I'm going to end it there.
The booth.
All right, guys, here is my totally honest opinion about this radio. I am a huge fan of it, number one, and I'm going to tell you why. Let's start with the battery life. I ran a test on the battery life. You guys saw that test, and this thing ran for 14 hours with average kinds of use. I mean, I used it as a scanner, as an APRS beacon. I made multiple QSOs with it during the day and just monitored with the thing on the entire day. 14-hour battery life, the same battery that came in the FT2. Big improvement. The screen on this thing. The color screen is wonderful. I really like it. It has great contrast to it. When it goes outside though, it does get a little bit dim, especially when you have the power saving feature on. And I always leave power save on all my handheld radios. Just helps extend the life of the battery. The alphanumerics on this thing, what a huge improvement. 16 characters you get to enter now. This means you get to enter in a very meaningful name to a repeater. You can enter in a call sign in a city, or some other meaningful name to you other than the cryptic kinds of names that you're limited to under 8 characters. Now, along those same lines, I wish that Yaesu would have increased the amount of characters you could enter into the call sign field. Guys with longer call signs or longer names, they're not able to enter their name and their call sign in there. That is super helpful to guys on the other end when we're making contact with them. To be able to see a guy's name, and if his name is Philip, that would be really cool to be able to see his name come across there and not just the call sign. Now, this is a color touchscreen, which is far different and I think far more advanced than say the other upper end radios in digital, namely the D74 from Kenwood and say the Anytone 878, which neither one of those have a color touchscreen. They have fantastic color screens, but not a touchscreen. That being said, this one is scaled down just a little bit from the FT2 and very responsive, much more responsive on the touchscreen than the FT2 was, but my fat fingers sometimes miss the soft buttons on the radio. The volume on this thing, I would say easily 50% louder than the FT2. This was a huge complaint of mine on the FT2, especially in outside conditions. I especially love the implementation of whichever VFO you happen to be in. If you're in dual mode, you touch the VFO that you want to be in, and the volume knob adjusts that one VFO, so they could be different volumes. Likewise, when you hit the squelch button, it also changes the volume knob to the squelch, each one individually set. Huge deal. That is very cool. Now the price. Yes, this is a damn expensive radio, but it is very comparable to the Kenwood D74, which I still think holds the top mark for MSRP. This one comes in MSRP just over 500 bucks. Ham Radio Outlet has it right now for 450. I know it's a lot of money, but you're getting a lot of radio. Guys, I hope this video helped you if you just bought the FT3, or you're thinking about buying an FT3, or maybe you're just curious about it and it's not really on your radar. Hopefully you gained a little something out of this thing, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, again, give me the thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments about this, you know, whether you like the radio, you don't like it, I don't know, whatever, leave a comment below. And please, again, hit the subscribe, the bell notification, the like button, and please share this on your social media. Help get the word out. Anyway, guys, that's all I've got today. I'm Bob, K6UDA, and I'm out of here. 7-3.